right. Everybody's starting to jump in here, which is great. So we've got a lot of people here. Perfect.
Now you.
Geraldine, I just need you to unmute yourself, please.
It's Roche. I didn't think you looked like that at all.
Geraldine, you there?
Yep, I unmuted.
All right,
Did you hear me?
excellent. And then Jeffrey, if you can unmute yourself.
Not pretty at Citizens Bank, not pretty on that radar.
Everybody else, we're going to ask that you stay muted throughout this presentation.
He's picking up. Feels like a nor'easter in the.
All right. Thank you very much. So welcome, everybody. Sorry for the little technical troubles here, but my name is Roger. I am the marketing director for Crown Cruise Vacations. I'm joined by Jeffrey Bateman, our vice president of operations, and our good friend from Seabourn, Geraldine Giacone, who is going to talk all about Seabourn and everything that's special about it. And we are going to talk about a very special offer at the end of this. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. Okay, we ask that you stay muted during the presentation, because if you're unmuted and you're talking, then nobody will be able to hear the presentation because it'll cut off Geraldine's mic. Okay, so we're going to ask that you make sure that you stay muted throughout the course of this presentation. If you have questions, please feel free to use the chat box, because we will be taking questions there. And then you will be able to, at that point in time, you will be able to get those questions answered either during or at the end of this presentation. Okay, so without any further ado, unless Jeffrey, is there anything that you wanted to add?
I just want to thank everyone for taking the time to join us this evening. We know it's precious time in your day, so thank you. We hope you enjoy the presentation. Seabourn is a beautiful product. I've experienced it a few times, so I hope you have the opportunity to. And by this presentation, I think you may want to join Seabourn for your next cruise celebration.
Excellent. Well, without any further ado, Geraldine, please take it away.
Excellent. Thanks, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I want to say a big thank you to Jeffrey and Roger for hosting this. Crown Cruise Vacations is one of our top most valued travel partners in the cruise industry. They're just amazing at what they do. So you're in great hands when you book a cruise. Hopefully it'll be Seabourn, but they sell everybody in the industry. So again, reach out if you need their expertise. So I'm really thrilled to be with you tonight to talk a little bit about Seabourn. And Roger, how am I advancing on my laptop? I'm hitting the advance button, but nothing's happening. Oh, there we go.
There you
Yay.
go. It might be a little delayed. That happens.
It is a little delayed. So if you haven't experienced a Seabourn brand, we go all over the world, and it's going to be difficult in a half an hour to give you the highlight reel, but that's what I'm going to attempt to do in this presentation, is just give you a little bit of a taste about the Seabourn experience, why we're a leader in the ultra luxury segment, and what's new. There's some things that are so new that I'm just going to barely be able to tell you, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But what we want to cover is who we are, who is Seabourn as a brand, tell you about our fleet, what we call the Seabourn all-inclusive difference, where we can take you in the world, what's new, as I said before, and then Roger introduced this earlier. We're going to tell you about the current promotions and a special offer at the end. So let's get started. Thought I'd take you on a quick little tour of our ultra luxury ocean vessels at this point. These are like floating yachts. Compared to other big cruise ships in the industry, we only carry 458 to 600 guests on our 5 ocean cruises. And they're beautifully decored. You'll feel like you are on someone's private yacht with lots of space per guest. You're never going to have lines, and it's very personalized one-on-one service. We are thrilled and honored to have received many, many awards over our 35-year career, and this year is our 35th anniversary. And most recently, about a week and a half ago, we were awarded Best New Exploration Expedition Ship with our Seabourn venture with the trade magazine. So you can see some of the very notable awards that we've won consistently over the last 35 years. And I'll explain a little bit why we believe that resonates with our guests. This is a quick look at the fleet. So you've got 3 ocean ships that are the 458 guests with all suites, 229. And then the 2 slightly larger ships, the Encore and the Ovation, with 300 suites, 600 guests. And then the brand new expedition ships, Venture and Pursuit, that I'll be talking a little bit more about in the presentation. So we're thrilled that now we bring luxury to even a higher level on these expedition ships with only 264 guests. So when you're going on a more expedition cruise, you want to be in a more intimate setting with fewer guests to be able to see more things on board. But I mentioned a moment ago about what we think makes the brand experience so special. And it's really some intangible things that our guests tell us. One is making meaningful connections, starting with our crew and our onboard staff. They have this amazing knack, and I've been selling this brand for a long time, of remembering your name when you come back on board. And they recognize you, they welcome you home, and they greet you with a smile, or they surprise you at your suite door with a late night snack, or the meaningful connections you make with fellow guests, whether you're bringing a group of your own or you're meeting guests on board. It's a very social atmosphere, very country club-like without the pretense. And it's a great way to reconnect. Girls getaway, should say ladies getaway, or a bunch of friends traveling together. The other thing we hear our guests say is, wow, I really had some life-expanding, life-changing moments on board. Things like coming face-to-face with penguins and not having them scurry away, or just seeing and experience things you may have never thought you'd experience in your life, like kayaking and being that close to a whale. Maybe going out on a Zodiac and seeing the penguins up close, or realizing the amazing architecture when you're in any of our ports that we take you to in Europe or around the world. And it's all about active luxury. Our guests are very well traveled for the most part, but they like to stay active in their life at home. So when they go on vacation, they want to continue that active lifestyle. So here's a great picture. We get asked a lot if we're appropriate for families, and I would say absolutely, but it's generally families with older children, 10 years and up, so they can do like a multi-generation kayak or city tour, biking trip, etc., while they're sailing with us. And then every step of the way, the last pillar, which is the most important to us, is that we're going to strive to always deliver that seamless experience. From the moment you step off the plane, wherever you're coming from, our team's there to greet you. You whisk on the ship, again, no lines. You're greeted with a mimosa or a glass of champagne, and always feel like you're coming back home when you come on board. So those are kind of the pillars, those intangible things that our guests feel when they come and sail with us, but a little bit about that all-inclusive difference. The best way I can describe it is Seabourn is all-inclusive the moment you step on board. So through Crown Cruise Vacations, you definitely can plan your airfare with them. You can plan your transfers from the airport to the ship if you want to come in early and do hotel. We can do all that at Crown Cruise Vacations and Seabourn. They'll work with you on that. But once you step on board, complimentary premium spirits and fine wines everywhere, gratuities included, special events. I'm going to talk about those signature events in a little bit as we go. Lots of 5-star dining venues, Really no reservations required except one venue. And then on all of our exploration cruises, you're going to have the Zodiac tours and the landings and hikes included. So again, all inclusive once you come on board. Here's something that we get asked a lot. Well, is Seabourn formal? And maybe years ago it was more formal, but we've really relaxed the dress code. In fact, in January, we removed formal nights on the exploration expedition cruises altogether. And on the ocean, we will allow jeans on the elegant casual nights in the main restaurants. But our guests still like to have a night where they get to dress up. It's not black tie, but you certainly can do it. But on those non-formal nights, you can bring nice, tasteful jeans into the restaurant. We like to deliver what we call Seabourn moments. So our campaign is all about this is your moment, but we like to deliver those moments. And one of our most iconic signature events is this caviar in the surf. If you've never done it, it is a highlight. It's a lot of fun. And you feel like a movie star because our team will bring out this real tripped out surfboard, fill it with ice and caviar, and you actually wade into the water to get your champagne and caviar. And it's just a really fun event. The other signature event is our Marina Day. So we always try to find a place where we can anchor and it's calm and the back of the ship opens up and we have lots of water toys that come out. If you're a snorkeler, you can snorkel or take a banana boat ride. Or if you just want to sit back and watch from the deck, that's fine too. But that's another highlight. So I want to take you on a quick tour of one of the ships. So if you're not familiar with us, you get an idea, the experience that awaits you on board. This is our minimum suite accommodation. It's 355 square feet with a private veranda. You can get a champagne and caviar delivery every day as a standing order if you want. That's all inclusive. And all the bathrooms are beautiful with double marble sink, full bathtub, separate shower, robes that you can wear on board, and lots of amenities, including molten brown bath items. For those guests that want more space, next step up would be a penthouse suite, over 500 square feet. And then you can go into our premium suites, which go over 1,000 square feet, and some of them feature their own outside jacuzzis. So a lot of choices. In the evening and throughout the day, lots of venues. Again, hopefully you're getting that private yacht feel with the decor. It's more traditional with jewel tones, but again, you have all of your spirits and fine wines and champagnes included anywhere throughout the vessel. The restaurant is open dining for dinner only, but you have other casual dining eateries like the Colonnade for breakfast, lunch, casual dinner, and weather permitting in the evening, we turn this into Earth and Ocean for a more casual tasting menu. So lots of options. The only restaurant that requires a reservation, or it's highly, highly recommended, is the Grill by Thomas Keller, who's our culinary partnership. He owns the restaurants Per Se in New York and the French Laundry in Napa. So those might be familiar to some of you, but he brings his culinary expertise to Seabourn, and guests can dine in his restaurant complimentary. Everybody gets one complimentary reservation up front, and you can make as many as you want once you get on board. So after all that food, you might be wondering, is there a gym? And yes, there is. And it's actually a really nice size for a smaller ship with lots of workout equipment. We have a beautiful spa on board. And again, lots of deck area where you're never going to have to, get up super early to get a deck chair. There'll always be space. And the Ovation and the sister ship, the Seabourn Encore, have this area called the Retreat. It's available for guests to come up and relax, but if you want to enjoy one of the private cabanas, I think there's 12 that loop around. Those are additional costs for the day. So if some of our guests say, I just want to go on the ship and relax, I want to get spa treatments, and I really won't get off the ship that much, or perhaps you're on a long cruise and you want to just enjoy a few days up there, that those are available for rental and private. So where do we take you? Seabourn takes you all over the globe. We visit all 7 continents, and the ships are constantly traveling the world. So we don't have one home port per se, where the ships come in and out. And that's why you really want to rely on the expert team at Crown Cruise Vacations to kind of guide you. And if you say, well, I really want to go away yet this August, where are the ships? They'll be able to tell you and give you some great options. So where are we? A little bit more detail. We're in the Caribbean every year from November to March. And there's 7-day cruises. We use Barbados and St. Martin as our 2 embark, debark cities or islands. And you can do combination voyages and make up to 21 days without repetition. So we'll be back in the Caribbean through March of 2025, and you can plan your vacation way ahead of time, but lots of combination options. And then our famous caviar and the surf event at Carambola Beach in St. Kitts. So here's a look of the itineraries that go into 2025. Again, same idea between Barbados and St. Martin, but gives you lots of flexibility. And one of the key things that makes us different is we're going into these small little ports where the big ships can't go. So we do have to use the major ports for airlift to get you down there, but then we go to these smaller little places, and that's the advantage of taking a smaller ship. Again, you've got that iconic Marina Day and caviar in the surf. So let's switch gears for a minute. If you are looking to still get away this summer, we're not sold out. There's still good availability on this itinerary I'm going to show you in Northern Europe. The Seabourn Ovation, which is the ship I've been showing you, does 7 days between Copenhagen and Reykjavik, Iceland. Again, lots of good availability still there. These are very interesting ports, and we'll be happy to work with you and get you over there on a great airfare. We also have space this summer in Alaska. And if you've been to Alaska, but you haven't been on Seabourn, I invite you to come back and try it the Seabourn way, because we do hit the small little ports and the canals and fjords where those big ships can't get to. So we use Anchorage, Vancouver, and Juneau as our departure points, depending on which direction you're going. But there's 7-day cruises, 10-day, and you can do 14 round trip and never repeat a port. So good availability this summer on those adventures. And then in Europe, still space available this summer, but we're really actively promoting the 2024 season. And we start early. We're there from March to November. And at any given time next year, we're going to have 5 ships there. So lots of options. But you can see we travel all over the European continent. These are all the little ports and major ports we go to. So lots of combinability and the ability to customize your cruise. Heavy presence in the Mediterranean with the Adriatic and Greek Isles. So think Spain, Italy, coming around into the Adriatic, into Rome or into Venice, and along the Dubrovnik coast and the Greek Isles. So lots of options there. And whenever we can get in, we plan an evening or a late night stay in Kusadasi, Turkey. So we bring our guests over to Ephesus right around sundown, after it's closed to visitors, and have an exclusive event for our guests with a champagne reception and then this beautiful classical concert as the sun sets. So it's really, again, one of our signature events on Seabourn. Now this one, this is brand new. So you're getting a look at something that just was announced a few weeks ago. Grand Africa for 2024 and 25. This is an opportunity to circumnavigate the whole continent of Africa in 90 days. We're departing November 30th of next year, and we'll do round trip Barcelona on the Seabourn Sojourn. We'll take you to 26 countries with 6 overnights. And what we call Seabourn journeys, which are overland trips. There's several of them, including Victoria Falls, 2 safari options, and other things that are going to still be planned and announced to those guests that are booking. Now, if you don't have the full 90 days, these are different segments that you can buy. You could do 28 days, 52 days. The smallest one is 9 days. And again, work with that team at Crown Cruise Vacations and they'll be able to customize. But what a great way to see Africa and get into these small ports. Now, if you're thinking, why does she have a blank screen? There's a reason. In just a few days, we're going to be announcing to the public our 24 to 25 sailings on the Seabourn Quest. I can verbally tell you about them, but I don't even have any graphics that I can share with you. But for those of you that like to plan ahead and are looking just to get a sneak preview, I can verbally tell you what we're doing. So we're going to start in November of 24 in Miami, do a Panama Canal sailing, and eventually with stringed itineraries together and in Australia and New Zealand, well, there'll be several voyages there. Then we'll continue on to the South Pacific, Fiji, Tahitian Islands, again, the small ports that those big ships can't reach. And then I'm so excited about this. From mid-March to the end of April, just in time for cherry blossom season, we're in Japan. So that's going to be a spectacular time of year to be there. And then we end with the islands of southern Japan and Taiwan. So those are the itineraries that are coming soon. If you're interested, reach out to Crown Cruise Vacations, put your name in, and in 5 days, we'll be able to get you the details on that for a sneak peek. So I'm going to spend just a few minutes on expedition. If you haven't done this, it might be something that you're ready for. So what is an expedition ship? Think of it as a land versus sea safari. So if any of you have ever done safaris, you have your base camp and then you go out on the jeeps and you explore. In this case, the ship is your base camp and every day you go out exploring on the Zodiacs. And it's really a very different way to see remote regions of the world. And I advance to the next slide. I want to talk a little bit about the difference between an expedition voyage and an ocean voyage. Typically, expeditions are smaller, so 264 guests, as I said earlier. You want that personalized experience. We can take you to those remote areas where most guests will never experience. So if you're adventuresome and you're looking for something different because you've done basic itineraries and you're just ready to explore, why not do it with Seabourn? Because you're going to get that same signature service and cuisine and personalized attention that you're used to on our ocean ships. It's a great way to see the Northern Lights. And it combines all these different ways to really tour by Zodiac, kayak, possibly submarine if you're into that, hiking, wildlife, etc. But the ship is beautiful. It feels very much like a luxury ski lodge in its decor. Lots of social spaces on board. This one's really fun. A lot of guests are up here during the day. It's called the observation deck area. Those monitors are exactly the same as our officers and captain are looking at one deck above, but they're static, so you can't touch them and move them, but you can see what our team is seeing, and there's a beautiful observation deck out the front. Again, lots of space to relax and enjoy. This on the upper left would normally be like the main showroom on an ocean ship. This is the Discovery Center where the lecturers will come in and tell you about what you're going to see. Beautiful restaurant choices, just like our ocean cruises, earth and ocean as well, weather permitting, back at the infinity pool in the back. And lots of options in the evening. So for a small ship, you have the Constellation Lounge. You also have a place where you can come on the right side for sushi. Many, many choices, and the accommodations are stellar. They're the same sizes, just different design that we have on our ocean ships. But starting in the upper left, those are the standard veranda suites starting at 355 square feet, up to a panorama suite on the right side with a cantilever sitting area, and the penthouse on the lower left. Dress code update I talked about earlier, but I just want to point out the green because these are the things that make it different than on our ocean experiences. The grill by Thomas Keller is not on board the Venture the Pursuit because we can't get his ingredients when we're in these really remote places in the world. And the other difference is that Many of the shore tours are included on the expedition, such as the Zodiac launches and those guided tours by our expedition team. Casino, don't need it. It's not on board. Come on an ocean cruise if you're looking to gamble. But the Bow Lounge, I mentioned earlier, great place to come during the day to really be on the watch for wildlife. We have a beautiful spa and health club on board. And all guests come away with a great parka. You borrow the boots while you're on board, but the parka, the little beanie, is yours to take home after your cruise as a great souvenir. And all the way throughout your entire journey, you're greeted by our 24-member expedition team. They're highly, highly educated and trained in all aspects of wildlife, scientry, naturalists, and safety, number one, taking you on the kayaks and the Zodiacs. So these are the places we take you. We really span the world. In terms of seasonality, we're in Antarctica during our winter months, and then we transition north to the Arctic. The Seabourn Pursuit will actually head west, and I'll show you those itineraries in a minute. And in between, we do what we call seasonal migrations, passing between the two Arctic regions. We're open for sale all the way through spring of 2025, so lots of choices there. And really just a fun way to see these Arctic ice polar regions with spectacular scenery. And again, really unexpected discoveries. These are just some scenes from last year's Greenland Arctic season. And then Antarctica, everybody thinks of expedition, they think of Antarctica. This is the 11 or 13-day itineraries that typically run from November to February. We do include a charter flight into and out of Ushuaia from Buenos Aires, but we do sail the Drake Passage, which I know some people go, oh, I don't know about that, but the ship is built for this. It's a polar class certified ship. It's got an amazing hull and stability, and it's part of the experience to do that. And the other great itinerary is this one. Oops, I jumped ahead. Sorry about that. When you have time, the longer 21-day includes South Georgia Island. They're on the far right. And why do guests want to go there? Because they want to see this. When you land there, you see a rookery of 250,000 pairs of king penguins. It is amazing to see. And the little brown ones in the front, they look like kiwi fruits. They're the babies. But this is the highlight of that South Georgia itinerary. And then brand new, because I said I was going to share some new things with you, we're going to be exploring the Kimberley region of Australia. That's the upper northwest area, very rugged, original Aboriginal territory. Even Australians want to do this itinerary because it's very difficult for them to get there other than by ship. So that's going to happen next summer, 2024, on our brand new Seabourn Pursuit. So we mentioned we're going to have an offer for you, and we'll tell you a little bit about the two current offers that are out there. And these apply to both our ocean cruises and our expedition. When you book by July 10th, we have up to $4,000 per person towards your airfare when you book your airfare through Seabourn, which you're actually booking it with Crown Cruise Vacations guidance, but it's being done through us. We're also going to offer you a complimentary 2-category upgrade within Veranda. So if you're not familiar with how that works, the Veranda categories, for the most part, are V for Veranda 1 through 4. So 1 being the lowest, 4 being higher. So if you buy a 1, you're going to get a 3. If you buy a V2, you'll get a V4. So you're bumping up basically sometimes 2 decks higher. And the last thing is, if it's a further out sailing more than 90 days before departure, you only have to put down 10% as a reduced deposit, as opposed to the normal deposit of 25%. So it's less of a financial commitment, and you are not under penalty to cancel if it's, again, outside of that final payment period. So that is one offer. The second offer is called our finale sale. Just like final sale. If you have firm travel dates and you're going to tell the travel advisor at Crown, I'm definitely going, I'm on vacation the 3rd week of October, or that's when I want to get away, they can find you 30% savings, but it will be non-refundable. So just like in airfare, if you want the lowest airfare, there's a big kind of risk reward attached to it, but they can search for you and find what's available. And these go into 2024 sailings as well. And the slide I don't have on here is that you're going to definitely want to talk to the team at Crown Cruise Vacations, because they also have some secret things in their pocket. And Jeffrey's nodding and smiling. They can often get you some phenomenal rates that are not published. So that is our thank you to them for being such a great supporter of Seabourn and giving them an opportunity to work with you and pass those savings on to you. And the last offer we have for today is our shipboard credit offer. So as a thank you for attending, we're offering you a $300 per suite spending credit. So if you book in the next 2 weeks, I think I actually put June 30th, but we might be able to play with that a little bit. You can see that this money will be deposited in your onboard account. So you'll have lots of fun with that. You can buy upgraded wine, you can do a spa package, you can put it to a shore excursion or the gift shop on board, but you'll have $300 per suite in spending money as a thank you for attending tonight. You can book the Bon Voyage event and it will be included. We cannot include it with the finale sale, but again, I'll see what I can do if that's what is in your budget. So I've been talking about this is your moment. Now this is a great moment. We want to just thank you for attending, and I'm going to turn the mic over to Roger to see if we had any questions that came in.
We've got some questions actually. So a couple of things that we want to talk about. First, a couple questions regarding your expedition, right?
Okay, great.
So we talked about some of the all inclusions, and I know that, you know, when you book an expedition cruise, especially in a cold weather environment, you get the parka and the beanie, but you don't necessarily need to purchase any additional gear, right? Because like the like the waterproof boots and like the waterproof pants and stuff like that you can borrow, correct?
That's correct. So we don't do the pants. So
Okay.
if you want to do waterproof, like a ski kind of pant, that's a great idea. I would suggest it's all about layering. So, you know, like a legging or something, and then a waterproof pant. It is very, very, very likely you're going to get wet. And I don't mean soaking wet, but it's very misty and rainy and you get spray. But we do provide the parkas. I would say definitely size yourself up. And I know that's tough sometimes. You want to be a small, but you're going to layer. So I would say go one size up because you're going to take that home. Now, that being said, we do a parka exchange the first night on board, which is really a fun event. Bring out the champagne, everybody tries on their parka, and inevitably people go, I need to trade. So that's there. We do ask for your foot size. You borrow the boots, they are on board. They're constantly cleaned and sterilized. Every guest suite has its own locker. And within the locker are 2 cubbies where the boots go. And the other fun thing is that every suite on the expedition ships has a heated closet in addition to your regular closet. So here's an example. You go out on your morning Zodiac run and you got damp, and now you're coming back to the ship and you're going to have lunch or a cappuccino. Hang your parka in the heated closet, flip on the button, it's a low heat. Come back in about 2 hours and your parka not only will be warm, but it'll be dry. So it'll be ready to go out for the afternoon. The boots stay down in the landing zone. Our staff's going to clean them and make sure they're ready for you to go. Typically, we try to do 2 Zodiac launches a day, weather permitting. So this is kind of a long answer to the question, but I want to point out one more thing. If you are planning to go on an expedition cruise, I hope you book Seabourn, but go with a small ship because the weather can change on a dime. And if you're on a big ship with 600 or more people, they can't send all the Zodiacs out at once. You have to take turns. So you have less likely a chance to get your turn. On Seabourn, we try to give you 2 chances every day. So that's the advantage. So long answer to the question, but it's a good one.
One of the other things that we've learned here in the last week or so too, even though it's not necessarily an expedition, but Seabourn also provides you an all-weather jacket if you book one of the Alaska voyages for 2023 as well, complimentary of Seabourn, right?
That's right. They're back. We had discontinued them because our supplier ran out, and we had a lot of feedback from guests. Bring the jackets back in Alaska. I think we're the only cruise line that provides complimentary jackets. They're not the heavy expedition ones, but they're still a waterproof jacket.
Waterproof
So that's
jacket.
another great bonus. Thanks for bringing that up, Roger.
Yeah, no, of course. And, and my favorite part about this is you said that you borrow the boots, they clean the boots every day. You don't have to worry about any stonky boots when you're going out and doing your expedition the next day, which is great. Somebody else actually had a question about this. And I guess, you have two sizes of ships, essentially, right? You have the larger classic ocean cruise ship, which is still a smaller ship. And then you've got the expedition craft, which is a smaller ship than the small ship. So question is motion sickness more of an issue on any of these because the ships are smaller, or what kind of stability options are there on board?
Again, great question. So the ocean ships are built for ocean sailing. Obviously, I pointed out we go all over the world. So they're all fully stabilized. And the only thing I would say is if you are prone to any motion, then make sure you book early to try to get that midship location, because whether you're midship from top to bottom and side, front to back, that's going to be better for you. You also want to watch in the front part of the ship, you're going to have anchor noise as we're anchoring. So if that's bothersome to you, then, work with the team at Crown and pick your best spot. But the expedition ships have a thick steel enforced hull. Even the bow of the ship looks very different because it can cut first and second year ice. So we can go into Antarctica. You don't have to be afraid of icebergs. We can cut through the ice flow because the ship is built for that. And it's built for rougher seas as well, because that Drake Passage and sailing in these remote areas where we go, we need to have a ship that is equipped for that. So I can't guarantee the weather, and I don't know everybody's personal appetite for motion, but the ships are fully stabilized to make the trip as comfortable as possible.
Right. And so what that means is that it doesn't necessarily mean that you won't feel the motion all the time, right? But it's the same on a large ship as the same on a small ship. And truth be told is sometimes the Drake Passage is very smooth, so much they call it the Drake Lake. Sometimes it ain't, and they call it the Drake Shake. Okay.
That's cute.
So that's something that you guys got to take into consideration if you decide where you want to go. Those expedition ships are not all just in the Antarctic or the Arctic. Sometimes they're traveling back and forth. And so you can get some smoother itineraries and still get that expedition experience just without the parka, because you're going to be like in the Caribbean, right?
That's true.
And you don't
Those
need a
are
parka in the Caribbean, last I checked.
Yeah, and we don't give them there. So, but I'll tell you, those heated lockers come in handy in the Caribbean. If you have a wet bathing suit or, beach shoes. Yeah, I tried that. We had our sales meeting on board last October. I put my damp bathing suit in there, and guess what? The next morning it was completely dry. That's a cool feature. So they come in handy even in other regions. But to your point, Roger, we do sail through the Caribbean. We go through parts of Europe sometimes with the expedition ship, Australia, New Zealand, Tahiti as we're transiting. So there are opportunities to come on board if you don't want the ice and the cold. There's other regions that you can try that kind of experience.
Yeah, for sure. So more general questions now. Somebody wanted to know, we have a lot of solo travelers who are on board the ship, and they wanted that travel, and they want to know what kind of single supplement do you normally offer on Seabourn?
There's really not, I'm looking for something as I'm anticipating that question, and now I don't know where I put it. It's kind of a hard thing to answer. I can tell you that the normal single policy is it's 200%, but meaning they're going to pay whatever the rate is for the room. However, the earlier you book, there's very likely that you might get 150% or 175% as a single. We do set aside some rooms on select voyages for that opportunity, but it's not every room. So the earlier booker is going to be more likely to get that. But the best advice I can say is for them to call your office
Yeah,
and speak to
that's
an advisor and I know you know how to search for those.
that's a
So,
great
know,
point. And the other
yeah.
thing too is if you're a solo traveler and you want to go sooner than later, just keep in mind, Geraldine mentioned sometimes we have these super secret fares, which might mean that you might be paying a lot less than 150% of what the normal retail rate is, because we can get it for you cheaper sometimes. We're not allowed to advertise that. So Geraldine, cover your ears, but he can get it cheaper, right?
Better
Which is
value, better
yeah,
value.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Susan had a question about European journeys, obviously a little different than expedition. How big are the ships that you're using in Europe and the classic voyages? Like how many passengers are normally on those?
Thanks for the question. So the the three smaller ships are 458 guests. And then the two bigger ones are 600 guests. So it's really not that many more. But the advantage is that we can get into those smaller ports. The big ships can't. If we cannot dock, we anchor and easily tender in because we don't have to move as many guests. So when you look at the itineraries, you're going to be like, I never heard of that place in the Greek Isles. That's the idea. Like we're trying to take you to places that you would not be able to get to on your own. But you'll also be going to places that you are used to seeing, like Saint-Tropez and Portofino and Monte Carlo, but then we're going to throw in some other ones along the way. I think it's pretty evident in the Greek Isles. We do some Santorini, we do some port, Athens, Istanbul, etc. But we're going to go to some of the smaller Greek Isles that you may not have heard of, and they're absolutely stunning. Between the fact that you don't have a lot of tourists there, but easily walkable. And because we don't have many people on board, you're never going to feel crowded in these ports.
Yeah, what I love in the Greek Isles, I love Patmos, right? That's like my favorite
that's a good
spot.
idea.
And Patmos is this tiny little island, right? And it's got a lot of biblical history. And so what ends up happening is a lot of people will take these shore excursions that'll go up to the shrine where apparently the book of Revelation was supposed to have been written. Or something like that. But I just decided I would go for a walk. And I walked maybe 5 minutes away from the ship when I was there. And it was like I had the island all to myself. It was just wonderful and gorgeous. I found a little taverna. I had some octopus. I had some cheese. I had a nice beer. It was a wonderful day. So yeah, the Greek Isles are amazing, an amazing place. And Seabourn has just the right size. Between 450 and 600 passengers, you're really going to get a good fit there.
Very immersive, very immersive.
Yeah.
And we try to stay. Yep.
We had a couple other questions here for you. We'll wrap it up at that point. So Marjan and somebody else wanted to know a little bit about the all-inclusive nature of Seabourn, right? So first off, excursions are not included unless you're on an expedition and you're doing a Zodiac landing, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
We've got a beautiful selection of shore tours available on ocean. So once you're under deposit, you'll be able to access your booking and you can start shopping and looking at the shore excursions. You can actually look at them before you're booked. You just can't book them until you're deposited.
Right.
But they range in price and activity. You mentioned, though, that the advantage of not having them included is you're not paying for something you may not use. So Seabourn by design did not want to include shore excursions because a lot of people want to do what you did in Patmos, just walk around, explore on your own, find that taverna and just relax. You might want to head to the beach. You might want to go shopping, but we do have some beautiful shore tours available. And something I was just going to say went out of my head. Oh, I know. The signature event. All guests are invited to that evening in Ephesus. There is no extra charge for it. We do ask that everybody sign up for it just because we need to know for transportation purposes. Sure. But that's a beautiful, beautiful event. And we may be developing some in other places, but it's as you can imagine, a very elaborate operation to pull that off. But it's something that Seabourn's been doing for quite a while.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the excursions aren't included, but let's talk a little bit. Can you just real quickly go over the things that are included and what makes an all-inclusive inclusive on Seabourn?
Sure. So as I said, the moment you step on board, you're greeted with a glass of champagne. We're going to escort you to your suite where the suite attendant will give you a tour. You can pre-select during your check-in process how you want your suite bar to be stocked. So we will stock the bar in your suite with, it depends what suite level you're in. If you're in the top suites, you have a lot more options, but
Sure.
even the veranda suites, you're going to get, spirits of your choice, a bottle of champagne, red or white wine. If you say I only like red, then they'll swap it out, mixers, and it can be replenished while you're on board. So that is really cool because you can have a drink back in your room. Now, if you wanted a drink that was not something you stocked, you just call room service and order it. Like you want a nightcap, hot toddy. That's what I was thinking. I was like, what's that nightcap? Let's say you want a hot toddy delivered to your room, all inclusive.
Right.
All the food included, which does include a full room service delivery. So you can order a hot breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dinner can be ordered off the menu in the restaurant and served course by course. So if one night you're just really tired and you want to sit in your bathrobe and watch a movie and have the dinner brought to you, we will deliver it to you in your room. So that's
Right.
included as well.
And gratuities are also included. And when we-
Gratuities all included. Yep.
And when you talk about the specialty dining, that's also included. So they want to have that Thomas Keller experience. That's not going to be an extra charge.
That's correct. And I just had a guest on board who pre-booked one night in Thomas Keller, absolutely loved the experience, and went back 2 other times, and the staff got them in and there was no extra charge. The one thing I will say though is the Thomas Keller menu is going to be the same every evening, where
Right.
in the restaurant, it's going to change every evening. So that's the only caveat I would say to that.
Right. Wonderful. So this is a phenomenal deal. So we're going to wrap things up. And Geraldine, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
For taking this evening here. And remember, big savings right now between the finale sale, our super secret sale, our $300 shipboard credit, all the other sale, the Bon Voyage events. There's so much going on right now and so many savings. Again, through the end of June, if you give us a call, and through the end of June, if you give us a call, we will be able to get you a phenomenal deal with an extra $300 shipboard credit if you make a reservation before the end of June. And that's all sale dates. So that could be next week, that could be next year, that could be 2025, all of those timeframes, totally doable. Okay. Now our office is closing here for the evening in just a couple of minutes. So don't rush to your phones right now because you might not get through, but we are opening tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. We do have advisors standing by for you 7 days a week, and we would be more than happy to make this work for you. All right. Jeffrey, any last words?
Geraldine, I want to thank you for your presentation. Once again, I love everything about Seabourn. I hope our guests who have joined us enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please call us. I think there might have been a couple more questions that came through that we didn't get to. We're here to answer those for you. You can call, ask for me. I will be happy to assist you. Roger is our marketing director. He can help you, but we do have a whole gang of travel advisors who are well-versed in Seabourn. So we're here to help and to make your journey an incredible, memorable journey. So thanks for joining us. Have a great evening, and we hope to help you soon.
Yes, and real quick, before we go, one quick question. The new itineraries that are going to be released, will they be released before June 30th?
Yes.
Great. So
June 26th. Yeah.
that means you'll have 4 days to take advantage of our offer and those new itineraries, which is great. All right, guys. Thank you so much for attending. We appreciate you spending part of your evening with us. Hope you have a wonderful night. We'll talk to you again soon. Toot toot, gotta scoot. Have a great one.
Bye. Thanks, everyone. Good night.